everyone. My name is Zanele, also known as Zanele M, and welcome to Ingxoxo Insurance in Nomazet, where we share tips and information on everything regarding insurance. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome, and please do not forget to like us, share your experiences and stories, and hit the notification button so that you always get notification of our new episodes. Disclaimer, I am the Managing Director for Regenerate Insurance Brokers, an authorized financial services provider. So guys, I think on the previous talks that we've had, we've been looking strictly at the life risk products. We've looked at funeral, we've looked at life cover, but there's many more that we still need to cover. So I just thought today we can actually look at the other life risk product that we haven't gotten through too. So namely like your disability cover, we're talking your impairment cover, and we're looking at severe illness cover. What we'll be looking at specifically is what these products are, how they work, and sharing some tips on how or what to look for rather when you are picking up and buying these products. So first up, we're going to look at disability cover. What is disability cover? Disability cover is a financial product that gives you cover or insures you in the event that you may become disabled. There's different kinds that you'll find in the market. Some are temporary disability and some will offer you or pay when permanent disability. So normally how this would work, you'd find that most people will have temporary disability cover and permanent disability cover. So this ensures that when something does happen to you, remember guys that when somebody is permanently disabled, it's not something that can be confirmed and diagnosed like in a week or a month's period. It does take time. And your insurer would want, obviously, like confirmation, diagnosis from your doctor. So it does take time. So if permanent disability, for example, is not going to pay you out until they have the confirmation that you are permanently disabled. So in that time space, bear in mind, chances are you cannot work, you do not have an income, expenses do not stop. School fees you still have to keep my lights on. So in the time being, you have to think about how am I earning an income or what am I receiving to be able to keep the lights on. So that's where a temporary disability would then come in. So with the temporary disability, basically it's gonna pay you like a monthly income for an X amount of time. Normally you're looking at like a 24-month period, but that should be enough time to give your specialist the time frame to confirm a permanent disability if you are permanently disabled. Then when a permanent disability then pays out, it most probably will pay you out in a lump sum. So bearing in mind some of the things that finally we specifically within the budget disability, if ever it is a confirmed case, so you are now disabled, you're gonna need support. Financial and physical support. So this is where having a cover comes in place. It's gonna cost you more financially, making adapting your living conditions, modify indlu yakho so that uzokwazi move around more easily concerning a disability also nayo, even maybe having to modify your vehicle. So now these are izinto that you have to keep in mind and consider. Also, I say that this kind of thing, when you are shopping around for your disability cover, it's important to note and know my expenses that are now on a monthly basis. So for example, on a monthly basis, how much do I have to have or how much income do I have to have bringing home to ensure good our cover my living expenses essentially and every other thing, you servicing your debt, whatever other insurance product that you have. Because for example, if you got a life cover, you still need to pay for that, even if you're disabled because you're not dead yet. So that's most so. So those are all things that you need to factor and have in mind so that when you are getting the disability cover, you're getting a cover as enough income at the time space to be able to carry you, especially because now you cannot work. The other tips that you have to look into, if you've got a partner, it's important to consider is your partner a working individual? Do they bring any income at home? If they are working, how much are they able to carry? Because from that, or from understanding that rather, I would say, you are able to then determine on your side how much of a coverage you need from a disability cover. If, for example, Mama Sekaya, hi, strong, we are going to make the things happen and bring me half or 50% of the amount of income that is needed in clinic, then you know what a disability cover yako. Once you are looking at the amounts, you just need to have the remaining 50% that would equal say in terms of my expenses in your incline or imali anything I incline. Also, another thing to consider with disability, it disability cover, it talks to the fact that you can no longer work. So it's a case of Fuguti, it's paying you out, whether it's a temporary paying you monthly or now it is confirmed and you are permanently disabled and it pays you out the lump sum. But the underlying factor here says you ulimele, whether it's due to illness or injuries, but to a point of Fuguti, you can no longer work and bring in an income. So it speaks to that specifically. Okay, so I think that's mainly a disability. We see Buga in the pointers that I have for you. Next up, we will be looking at impairment cover. So guys, like I know a lot of my client time when I talk to them, people's thinking about slight confusion ukuthi hayi ngeke Zanele musungitshela into eziningi kangaka engiyidingayo manje le impairment yani akithi uthe ifuneral ibalekile sayifaka i-death cover sayifaka i-disability yini manje impairment. Guys, zonke lezi zinto zisebenza like a puzzle piece, you know? Like everything has to be there working together to cover that holistic, to give you that holistic cover esitingayo. So when we talk about impairment cover, we're talking about a cover that will cover you or insure you in the event where you have some form of injury, for example. In the instances where your daily living or functioning is affected. So you look at things like should something happen where you have loss of hearing, where you might lose loss of sight. So it looks into all those kind of stuff, paraplegia, all those kind of conditions, the impairment talks to that. So one of the things to note and to take very good notes of when it comes to impairment cover is it's not insurance products as a kokela because you can no longer work. You can suffer from something and still be able to work, but because, for example, your hearing has been affected, it will pay you out. Now, when they do pay you out, it will sometimes. So, obviously, my products in the industry. So that's part of that's where you actually would shop around and find the right one that is best suited for you. But it's some of them or most of them will pay you pertaining to the severity that you've experienced. So, for example, if you have a case of slight loss of hearing, product will pay you maybe 25% of the cover that you have. If in an instance of like they pay you 25%, it means in your lifetime, right, as you still have the product, you still have 75% that is still available for you to be able to claim bakokele from. Amanye will pay you just 100%. So it's very important to note what kind of cover you have in place and how far they go. Nakona, a very important thing with them to note is when you are taking that product, like the insurance product, they're drawing you up the quotation, no isn't cover, right? So our products are fine, obviously. Abanye, they could cover this, abanye, they do not cover this. So then you need to actually ensure you know exactly what is covered within your policy and if it talks to you specifically in the kind of industry you work with. So, guys, small servants in specific industries, there's higher risk here, there's higher risk there. So once you are putting together our products, you need to ensure lama risk industry risk that are covered within our products that are hold, right? So that is pretty much impairment cover. A little bit more information. That's where you would hit up your girl for the Zanele M, and then we'll be able to break you down and go through everything in greater detail for you. Another very important cover that there is severe illness cover. Now, guys, I know ukuthi especially Mrs. like we're still young, we're still living. The last thing we are thinking about is ukuthi kungenzeka ngibe some form of great disease. Kungenzeka ngibe ne-cancer one day, or I could suffer from a stroke, or I could have a heart attack. It's the last thing we think about, you know. It's kind of thing when we are young, we're doing the most to try, and earn as much money, grow our careers, grow our families. But then it is a risk that are there. It's stuff that is happened, and unfortunately, akukho la kusuke kubhalwe khona okwazi ukufunda ukuthi ayi mhlambe in the next 10 years there's a good chance ukuthi there could be a chance ukuthi ngingenzeka ngisufferishe from a heart attack or a stroke. So it's always important to also ensure ukuthi kuma-cover onawo, you have something that talks to illness, severe illness and dread disease. So la specifically kusuke, as it says, iknika a coverage when it comes to a severe illness and cover. You're looking at your cancer, being diagnosed with any kind of cancer. You're looking at suffering from a heart attack and stuff like that. If something of that sort were to happen, then normally it will pay you out in a lump sum. Now, Connor, you have to take into consideration which if ever you do find yourself in that kind of situation, there's a good chance you would not be able to work for a certain amount of time. And obviously, local will affect financially and would affect your family financially. So as with sometimes, even with my medical aid, sometimes they will only go so far in terms of covering certain conditions. And kwezinye izinto sekufanele sithopape, kwezinye izinto fanele sifake izandla emaphaketheni. So into ekanje, they do help in the sense that they will allow you to have some form of access to a lump sum cover, and with that you are then able to cover any shortfalls you may experience. You are able to look after the family while you are out of action and unable to bring in an income. So in essence, with us covering all these things, we have looked at the most important life risks, threats, akona, and ensured we've had something in place to talk to all these different things. Sometimes, guys, as a working individual, as I always say, you are the most important asset, and it's always important that to ensure that you are sufficiently covered, especially with any threats and risks that could affect your life and that could affect you being able to bring home that bacon. So with us having cover in all these different elements, I would say that we are then sufficiently covered in terms of our life risk. And after that, then you are at liberty. We can start looking at our savings, we can start looking at your investments, we can start looking at estate planning, because now, let's face it, what's the point of ujahe or my investment when, any tragedy can happen tomorrow and it takes away from all those savings that you could have been putting money away to. So that was it for today. My life risk covered. Kamalami Zanele M. And please do join us next time on the next episode. Bye-bye.